Man, we might have a problem tonight, and that might be that my voice just went out, because that was awesome. Thank you, band, for leading us tonight. Diane loved it. All right, let me pray one more time, and then we'll jump in. God, thank you so much for tonight, for these students, that we can be here with one another, that we can encourage one another, as Paul tells us, to encourage one another with songs and hymns and spiritual songs. Lord, I pray that what we see in 1 Samuel 9 through 10 tonight would be truth, would be something that we can grasp, and Lord, that you speak through it to us. Here I pray. Amen. All right. Noah Parley already thinks he knows what this message is about, but I would be amazed. Or do you? I don't know. Anyways, okay, if you guys want to turn to 1 Samuel 9 through 10, we will start there. Last week, the 5-second recap. Here we go. The Israelites reject God as their king and ask for a human. How was it, Noah?
It's always a great recap.
Okay, thank you. This week, we're going to be introduced to the man who's going to fulfill that role, who's going to come in and be the first king in Israel. So, what was that noise? Okay. 1 Samuel 9 through 10, verse 1. There was a man in Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel and of Zeror and Bechorath and Aphiah, a Benjamite, a man of great wealth, and he had a son whose name was Saul, a handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than he. From his shoulders upward, he was taller than any of the people. Okay, so we have Saul. We learned a couple things right off the bat. He's rich. He's from a family that's honored. He's tall. And he's good looking. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He's good looking. 5'8". What is it? That's right. He's a tall drink of water. That's right. He is. He's good looking. All right.
No way.
Sounds like a king. Did I say no way? Oh, you just instigated that. Okay. So Saul's family owns this farm, and on farms you have animals. When we lived in Oklahoma, one time, like a herd of cows came running past us. I got this little sticker because I helped the farmer recapture the cows. So Saul is going to be handing out stickers. He's looking for these donkeys. So Father Kish comes to Saul and says, Saul, go find our donkeys. Losing the donkey is a big deal for ancient farmers. It's like the equivalent of a combine. So if Gary Beatty loses his combines, all work is halted, right? Okay, so Saul goes, he starts looking for these donkeys. He searches high, he searches low, he searches wide, he searches near. He can't find them. Okay. He doesn't find them. He gets tired after about 3 days, and he tells the servant with him, hey, I'm tired, let's go back. Forget the donkeys, they're just animals. Like, my dad's going to start worrying about us. The servant comes up with this option. He's like, okay, before we give up, I heard that there's like the prophet Samuel is in the town nearby. Let's go over there, see if we can find him. Maybe he can help us find our donkeys. So Saul and the servant go walk into this town. The first person they see, this man standing by the gate, they're like, hey, we're looking for a guy named Samuel. Lo and behold, it's Samuel. Okay. Samuel, a day before, got this vision from God, and God says, Samuel, you know the people are asking you for a king. Tomorrow I'm going to show you who that king's going to be. So Samuel's expecting to meet someone, and as Saul approaches, God tells Samuel, hey, this is the man that's going to be king. So Saul comes up, says, Samuel, or you're Samuel, okay, that's great. Like, we're looking, actually, he doesn't even say that. Samuel goes, today you're coming with me to a feast. And don't worry about your donkeys, they've already been found. So they start hiking up this mountain, and all of a sudden, Samuel takes them to this feast, and they walk in, there's all these important people. Samuel sits Saul in the most honored place in the entire feast. He gives him the most honored seat. And then not only that, he takes a huge leg of meat, which is the most honored piece of like food at this feast, and he gives it to Saul. Okay, wrap your mind around that. Farm kid, yeah, he's good looking, but just like, okay, I lost these donkeys. Maybe Samuel will be able to help me. Goes to Samuel, and all of a sudden finds himself in this feast, most honored. Let's pretend I'm Clay Tarbell. Austin, stand up. Austin is my son, because I'm Clay Tarbell. My handsome son. Okay. You guys have dogs, right? One dog. Okay, what's your dog's name? Tobias. Tobias is lost. So as Clay, I tell Austin, dude, you gotta go find Tobias. So Austin grabs a friend, his servant. Thanks, Mike, for being the servant. Okay, and they start searching all over Iowa. Finally, they get to Iowa City. Yeah, search. Okay, you're in Iowa City now, and you found out that Barack Obama is in Iowa City, the most important man in America, right? Just like Samuel's the most important man. And Mike says to Austin, okay, maybe Barack Obama can help us find Tobias. And so they find Barack Obama, and before they can even tell Barack Obama about Tobias, Barack Obama says, Austin, you don't need to worry. I sent the CIA, they found Tobias. So they can come back to their seats. So Austin, the SEALs find Tobias. And then Barack Obama says, and not only that, you're going to come eat supper with me. Austin and Michael walk into this feast. Most important people in America. T. Swift is there. Everyone. I mean, everyone is there. JB's there. Yes. Hoiberg is there. Yeah.
No, Rivers.
Okay, yeah, he's there too. Austin is seated in like the most important seat.
Nice.
Would that ever happen? No. But it did to Saul. Okay, that's what happened to Saul. If you thought that was crazy, it gets crazier. So the next day, Samuel pulls Saul aside and says, hey, you're going to be the next king over Israel. And he takes this jar of oil and just dumps it on his head. Yeah. So, like Barack Obama tells Austin, hey, tomorrow, Austin, you're going to become the president. Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. So Samuel tells him, okay, so the way you're going to know these things are true is there's going to be 3 things that happen to you. First, you're going to be walking home, and on your way home, you're going to be passing Rachel's tomb, which everybody knew, and there's going to be 2 people there, and they're going to tell you, hey, the donkeys were found. Then you're going to walk to the great tree of Tabor, and at the great tree of Tabor, there's going to be 3 men, and those 3 men are going to hand you 2 loaves of bread. Yeah. Okay, and then the third thing is they're going to come up to a city called Gibeah, and there's going to be all these prophets playing tambourines, flutes, and prophesying. Samuel says, hey, the Holy Spirit's going to come over you, and you're going to jump in with them, and you're going to be like an uncontrolled Holy Spirit party dancer. Okay. Saul goes out, and all 3 of those things happen on his way home. That is a hilarious list of things. Today, you shall travel, and you'll get to Rachel's tomb. At Rachel's tomb, 2 men will tell you about donkeys. At the great tree of Tabor, donkey. At the great tree of Tabor, there'll be 3 men, mate, and they will hand you 2 loaves. Right? Austin and Michael are heading back from their journey, and they pass Pella. You guys are going to see 3 men, and then you're going to walk up to them, and they're going to have 2 loaves of Sara Lee. They're going to get that wheat too. Okay, trust me, it was just as weird for Saul to get 2 loaves of bread as it would be weird for 3 men to walk up to you and Pella and hand you 2 loaves of Sara Lee. It's weird. That doesn't happen. Nobody hands people bread. Like, of all things, here's some bread. And now you will journey through the 7 layers of the candy cane forest and through the swirly, twirly gumdrop seed. That's like the list. It's like a movie. The list is like a movie. And all of it happens. Okay, so they get home. And when they get home, Saul's uncle's sitting there. And he says to Saul, hey, where you been? Saul's like, Saul Samuel. He told me about the donkeys. Just like the most important man in the world. Hey, Austin, where you been? Saul Barack Obama. He told me I was going to be president or something. It's all right. It's all right. And you know it's all right. Just president or something. Okay, so after 7 days of waiting, Samuel comes and it's time. So they have this private anointing of Saul being king. Now they're going to have this public one where he's going to bring the whole nation of Israel and make this announcement that, okay, Saul is going to be the first king. So he calls everyone to Mizpah. And we're going to pick it up there in verse 17. So look there, chapter 10, verse 17 is where we're going to pick up. Here we go, verse 17. Now Samuel called all the people together at Mizpah. Okay, remember Mizpah. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. It's a city. And the last time we heard about it, the Philistines were there and they were like pouring out their hearts to God, confessing, returning back to God with all of our heart. And then the Philistines surround them and they're about to die. And they turn to Samuel, they're like, Samuel, we're about to die. And so God thunders and saves them. Do you see the irony of this? God's going to bring them, Samuel calls them to a place where they were just saved by God. And last week we learned that them putting a king over themselves is rejecting God. So, here's what it continues. Samuel said to the people of Israel, "Thus says the Lord God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of all the kingdoms that were oppressing you." Like, remember where we're at? We're at Mizpah, where the kingdoms oppressed you. I delivered you from those. But today you have rejected your God, the God who saves you from all your calamities and your distresses, and you have said to him, "Set a king over us." You're rejecting the God that saves you from all the calamities and distresses in your life. And in case you forgot, he just saved you from one in Mizpah. That's like the irony in this situation. Is that Samuel's calling them to a place where God saved them, saying, "You rejected me." We're in Mizpah, people. Or did you forget? Okay. Now, therefore, present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and your thousands. Then Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near, and the tribe of Benjamin was taken by lot. He brought the tribe of Benjamin near by its clans, and the Mattites were taken by lot. And then finally Saul, the son of Kish, was taken by lot. So, basically what taken by lot means is they're just like, the best way to think of it is rolling dice. So they have all of Israel, the 12 tribes, they roll dice. Okay, it's the Benjamites, they roll dice. Okay, the Mattites roll dice. Okay, Saul. Saul is the next king. And Samuel does this to clearly say, okay, God is the one who chose Saul. So Saul, okay, we'll continue. But when they sought Saul, so Saul's taken by lot, when they sought him, he could not be found. So they inquired again of the Lord, "Is there a man still to come?" And the Lord said, "Behold, he has hidden himself among the baggage." Then they ran and took him from there, and when he stood up among the people, he was taller than any of the people from shoulders upward. And Samuel said to all the people, "Do you see him who the Lord has chosen? There is none like him among all the people." And all the people shouted, "Long live the king." Okay, so Saul has been made king of Israel, and they do the loss, everyone's excited, and then they go to find him, and he's hiding, right? He's cowering behind a bunch of baggage, right? He's hiding. Where'd Saul go? He's hiding. Baggage. Okay, this is baggage. Get that in your mind. This is baggage. Saul hiding behind baggage. Stephen behind baggage. Okay, we should just have Saul come up and hide behind baggage for the rest of the talk. Okay. Why is Saul hiding behind baggage? That's the question. You're handsome, you're rich, you're tall, muscular. You're the perfect king. You look the part. Why would Saul be hiding behind baggage? You can lead us into battle. Ding, that's it, battle. Okay, remember, the reason why people wanted Saul to be king is because they wanted a king who could deliver them from their enemies. And even in this passage, we skipped over it, but God says, "I'm going to show you, Samuel, the man that I'm rising up to be king, and he's going to deliver my people from the oppression of other nations." The whole purpose, the primary purpose and role of the king was going to be delivering Israel from enemies. And Saul looks around and says, okay, there are a lot of enemies right now, and that terrifies me. First, on the left, you have the Philistines still. Yeah, they were defeated at Mizpah, but you still have them, and they are surrounding, like crowding in on Israel and about to attack. And they're fierce, they're mean, they have advanced weaponry from Greece, bad dudes. And they're crowded in, they're about to attack. So Saul sees that on the left. On the right, you have another nation called the Ammonites. And the Ammonites are starting to gain power right as Saul is going to be taking over leadership. And so you have threats from Ammonites on the right, you have the Philistines surrounding them on the left. And Saul looks up and is like, there's a storm brewing. And I don't want any part of this. It's like if you're a ship captain. No, say, okay, because you're wearing the same two shirts, stand up. This works perfectly.
You're so cute.
Devin is the captain of the ship. You're in the middle of a storm. Captain Devin, you're in the middle of the storm and you die. And then everybody, we're all the rest of us are the crew, we all point to Noah and you're saying, okay, you're the next captain.
You're wearing the same shirt.
And there is like hurricane upon hurricane upon hurricane. And Noah's like, I don't want this. No way.
Yahweh.
No. He's like, I don't want it at all. I don't want to be captain. My friend just died. My captain just died. No. Okay, Israel is in the middle of this storm, and Saul's like, I don't want none of that. None of it. Look, he like sees the storm brewing, and what does he do? He hides in fear behind a stack of baggage. Okay, here's the deal. Some of you guys right now, you're in a storm. Like your life, you'd be like, man, you might not see it, but I am in a storm. And Stephen, if I'm honest, when people ask me how I'm doing, I say good, but that is the farthest thing from the truth. School is pressuring me. I'm trying to keep good grades, but I have pressure from teachers, I have pressure from parents, and it's like a storm. It's over my head. Stephen, you don't even know what's going on in my family right now. The disease, the pain that I'm feeling. You're in a storm right now. Some of you are in leadership positions at your school or in sports, and everybody's looking at you and saying, hey, you're the senior, you're the junior, you're the leader of this team. And you're feeling this weight of expectation for you to perform. You're feeling this weight of expectation to be the captain, to be a man and woman of character. You're in a storm. Life's hard right now. You're feeling pressure from every direction. You don't know where the pain's coming from. You're striving. I have to do well in sports. I have to be a perfect child like everyone expects me. Some of you are in leadership even here in our youth group. Or have gone to this church forever and you're feeling, man, it feels like there's like an expectation for me to behave a certain way. I can't struggle with this thing because Christians don't struggle with that. Non-believers are the one who struggles with that. I can't struggle with that. You're in a storm. And here's the reality. We can't be like Saul. We can't hide behind baggage when there's storms in our lives. We can't. We have to stand up to storms. But there's a fundamental flaw in what I just said. There's an error, actually, in that thinking. When I say we have to stand up to storms in our lives, there's actually a fundamental flaw with that statement. And the flaw is that although we're courageous, even though we're tough, even though we know what we're doing, even though I think I can handle it, the reality is at some point, the storms in your life are just going to be too great. They're going to crush you. And whether you want to or whether you choose to, eventually, the storm's going to crush you and you're going to find yourself behind a stack of baggage. Okay, for most of us though, baggage doesn't look like suitcase forts, right? How many of you hide behind suitcase forts when life gets hard? Jake Beatty's like back here, don't come in, I'm allergic to the sun. My big suitcase castle. You're like putting up like other luggage type things, like the little pillows that go on your neck. Do you use that when you hide in suitcase forts? You like sleep on those pillows?
I have a bed of them.
Oh, bed of suitcase.
His brother put it in.
Oh.
Brother, maybe?
Do you sometimes get put in suitcases, Jake?
Aww.
It's okay.
I'm kind of too tall for that.
Sam and Nick pick on you and put you in suitcases?
They probably
yeah.
I bet you we could fit somebody in this big suitcase. Gabe. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay, that's not what baggage looks like in most of our lives except for Jake. Baggage in our lives doesn't look like necessarily suitcase forts that we cower behind and hide. Okay, we're going to start using the word baggage a lot from here on out tonight. And I want to make a quick clarification. Sometimes, like we've used the word baggage before to describe kind of like guilt or sin. We're talking about a whole different type of baggage, like tonight. We're talking about things that we hide behind when life gets tough. And so, there's two ways that I think we hide behind baggage, and both are destructive. That's the thing, there's two avenues that we can take. We're going to say there's this avenue, we're not going to call it the right avenue because it's wrong still. And then there's this avenue over here. The first avenue is going to be where you begin neglecting the responsibilities in your life. When school gets tough, you just give up. Okay, you know what, I can't get the grade anyways, like, I don't even need to go to school, like, I quit. That's the first avenue. It's this neglecting responsibility. You begin this self-destructive pattern. When the storm comes, you cave in, and you stop caring about your body. You turn to alcohol, drugs. You turn to even self-harm, or even begin thinking, like, contemplating suicidal thoughts. Like, this avenue is, I'm going to neglect responsibilities. You begin trying to find value or acceptance in other things. Perhaps a boyfriend physically, or to a computer screen. You begin going down this avenue of neglecting responsibilities and just giving up, quitting. Okay, that's the first avenue. The second avenue is going to be kind of the opposite. What you begin, the way that baggage looks like for you when you like hide behind things when the storm comes, is you begin creating this mask. You begin this process of striving and seeking to set everything up in your life so that it looks perfect. So when the storm comes, you begin striving super hard in school. Why? Because you're trying to create this facade that everything's okay, that everything's all right. You begin distancing yourself from relationships. I'm going to keep everyone a mile away from me so that they never see my heart. And they just kind of have this very general, superficial view of who I am. You come to church, or you're with your parents, and every time you're with your friends, you put on this mask. I'm just going to say I'm good. I'm going to say the right answers. In small group tonight, I'm going to just say, yeah, I haven't read my Bible. That's what's going on in my life. That's going to be your mask. Is, yeah, I'm going to choose something really like small so that like I don't have to talk about what's actually going on. And then these people have this fake, constructed identity of me. I'm going to use social media to position my life in a way that looks appealing to other people. So these are the two avenues that you can go to hide behind baggage. I'm either going to hide behind baggage by just stop caring. I'm going to avoid the responsibilities of my life. I'm not going to face the things that I'm being asked to do. I'm just going to quit. Or you can hide behind baggage by putting up this facade where on the outside everything looks okay, but if you actually knew what was going on, if you actually knew what was going on in my life, that'd be really painful, that you would see the pain that I'm feeling. So those are the two. So the reality is, though we should stand up to storms, though we should face storms, we can't possibly. Eventually, it will crush us. No matter how courageous we are, the storms of this life will crush us at some point. So I love The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
My favorite novel of all time is The Hobbit. Can anybody else identify it? Casey's like, nah. Okay, The Hobbit. My favorite movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not my favorite movie, just my favorite Lord of the Rings movie, is The Two Towers. I don't know why. It's just the GOAT. It is. You know, it's the GOAT. Can somebody enlighten people on like the correct lingo? What does GOAT mean?
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time. The GOAT is The Two Towers, because you have like those wolves, and it's just great. Okay, at the end of The Two Towers, you have all of Rohan, that's the name of this country, is trapped in Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep is this giant fortress that is supposedly impenetrable. Nobody has ever been able to break through Helm's Deep. It's survived attack after attack, centuries, and no enemy has ever been able to break through Helm's Deep. So, Rohan feels pretty safe, right? And they have this fearless leader named Aragorn. Aragorn is like the man. He's this wilderness man that has a beard. He goes by Strider. He like can taste blood and like tell you what kind of creature it's from. Like,
Yeah.
again, weasel. Hung out with fox. Well, elf shot at them. There's adrenaline in this dwarf's blood. He must have been running. Okay, but that's like Aragorn. He can do this thing, and he like gets down on the floor and like listens. He's like, they're 30 miles away. 250 orcs. That's Aragorn. Just the man. Stud. I don't know how you do that. Tom, can anybody in the military do that? Just lay down.
Tom can.
Okay. Tom can. Tom can. Okay. We're going to blindfold Tom, and we're going to have people run across the floor, and he's going to have to guess how many people they are and how much they weigh. Okay. That's Aragorn. He could totally do that. I guarantee you that he could be within 2 pounds of someone's weight. So Aragorn is this leader, and he's in Helm's Deep, and outside Helm's Deep there are tens upon thousands, how do you say that? Tens of thousands of orcs outside Helm's Deep, and they are going to kill all the men in a single night. That's like what they like stoke each other up for. Like, no man will be alive when we're done tonight. Shane is going for the orcs.
Oh yeah.
Aragorn, on the other hand,
I was cheering for them.
oh, for Aragorn. Aragorn, on the other hand, is looking
I
down
remember that.
on the ground, and he like looks at all these Rohan men. He's like, man, let's fight. And he stokes them up. He like builds their courage. He like gives them hope. He's like, there's always a hope. And so the battle starts. Aragorn and his crew, they like start with so much courage. They can withstand anything. This fortress has never been penetrated.
Yes.
And guess what?
What?
The storm, tens of thousands of orcs, the storm crushes them. And eventually you get to the end, and there's about 20 men left, and they're hiding in the throne room. They're hiding behind the baggage of the throne room. And they're looking at each other like, we don't know how we got here, but we're all about to die. And the orcs are pounding on this door, and they are crushed. The storm was too much for them. It didn't matter how much Aragorn could listen and tell that there's how many there were. It didn't matter how much courage they had to face the storm. It crushed them. They were in the throne room hiding behind the baggage of these huge wooden doors. But the reason why I love Lord of the Rings is because while Aragorn and the rest were cowering behind the baggage of these wooden doors, there's another that steps in. Gandalf. And Gandalf comes over this bridge with just thousands of horsemen, and they come sweeping through and just kill every single orc. What? Seth's nodding at me like, no.
Well, they get all the orcs get scared and they go back to where.
Okay, no, I skipped a few parts, yeah. But, okay, Gandalf comes down. But they would have died if the Gandalf didn't come, right? They did this suicide thing where they ride out and they were going to die. Gandalf comes down, sweeps all the orcs, and saves Aragorn and the Rohanians. Here's the reality. While storms will crush us, there is another who comes and will sweep across and clear the whole storm. Okay, back in the text, when Saul's hiding and the people are looking for him, they ask a question, right? Here's the question they ask. Is there a man still to come? Is there a man other than Saul? We can't find him. Is there another man to come? And the answer is yes. There is a man who's still to come, and his name's Jesus. And so the life of Saul that we're seeing in these two chapters are actually going to point us to Jesus. But not really through similarity, but more through contrast. So, We're going to do a little compare and contrast, right? Venn diagram style. All right. Verse 1, we see that Saul is born into a wealthy, honored family. Contrast, Jesus comes from the humblest of beginnings in a barn in a manger. 2, Saul is set out to find donkeys. Saul's father sends him to find donkeys. Jesus' father sends him out to find lost sheep, to find humans. Saul, after it gets hard, he quits. He says, okay, it's too much. Let's go home. It's not worth it. They're just donkeys. My father cares about me more anyways. Jesus, on the other hand, sacrifices everything to find you. He never quit in his search to find us. He comes and he searches and he finds us. And he tells us that even like one lamb out of 99 is worth the pursuit, is worth leaving the 99 to find that one lamb. He doesn't quit and ultimately gives everything to find you. Saul was appointed king to save the people from their enemy, the Philistines. Jesus was appointed king to save all the people from their greatest enemy, sin and death. Saul sat in a seat of honor at a feast. Jesus at a feast takes the position of a slave and washes feet. Saul sits with the most noble of noble in Israel at this feast. Jesus feasts with sinners, prostitutes, tax collectors. Saul cowered in the midst of the storm, of the Philistines on the left and the Ammonites on the right. He cowered in the midst of the storm, hiding behind baggage because he was too afraid. Jesus, on the other hand, stood and spoke, and the storm was calm. Remember that story on the Sea of Galilee? Stood and spoke, the storm was calm. Saul was incapable of defeating the Philistines. He was incapable of feeding the Ammonites on his own. Jesus, on the other hand, when the storm, the ultimate storm, presented itself of sin and death, he didn't cower, he rose. He didn't hide, he hung. He hung on the cross, right? He didn't hide behind baggage. He hung on a cross for you and me. That is the King that we serve. Unlike Saul, when it came time for Jesus to deliver his people from the ultimate enemy, he hung on a cross. Praise God that we have a King who doesn't hide from enemies. Praise God that we have a true King who rose and faced death. God appointed Saul to deliver his people from the Philistines, but the storm crushed him, right? He's hiding. He couldn't handle it. God sent Jesus to find you, and he defeated the storm. He calmed the storm. The greatest storm, the ultimate storm, was calmed for you. Whatever storm you're facing right now is a drizzle compared to the ultimate storm that every one of us face. Right? It is a sprinkle. Today it was sprinkling. It hit my face. I was like, ooh, that's cool. Because I was running around like a crazy man. And it felt refreshing. But what happened today, that little drizzle, is nothing. The storms that we're facing are nothing compared to the ultimate storm that hovered over all of us. And Jesus calmed that by not hiding but hanging. And listen, you'll never be able to face the small drizzles, the storms in your life, even though they might not feel like drizzles, even though they might feel like hurricanes. You'll never be able to face those if you don't grasp that the storm was called for you. You'll never be able to brave the storm of financial crisis if you don't understand that the ultimate storm was calmed. You'll never be able to brave the storm of disease or illness or a family member dying if you don't understand that the ultimate storm that hovered over us was calmed. You'll never be able to calm the storm or brave the expectations of parents or teachers or mentors unless you understand that, again, that ultimate storm that loomed, the dark clouds of sin and death, was calmed for you. As soon as it's overcast in your life, you're going to run immediately and either cower behind a mask, a baggage of mask, or cower behind self-destruction and just quitting. Jesus has conquered the ultimate storm for you and I. He didn't hide behind baggage, he hung on a cross. And with that, that calmed the ultimate storm. Living in that truth will give you the power to stand in the midst of any storm that will come. So let's bow and let's pray. And I want you to begin thinking, like, what storm am I in right now? And band, you can begin coming up. What storm am I facing? How am I cowering behind masks, behind baggage? How does knowing that Jesus calmed the ultimate storm affect you? How does it change the way you view your circumstances? How does knowing that Jesus calmed the ultimate storm change the way we look at the small storms in our life? Jesus, thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging and not hiding behind baggage. Thank you for being courageous and not cowering. Lord, we all are facing storms. There's pressures that we're feeling from every direction, no matter who we are. And Lord, even if we're not feeling like we're in storms right now, we all face the ultimate storm of sin and death. Lord, thank you for what you did for us to calm that storm. Here I pray. Amen.